Good morning, scholars. Today we're going to continue our progress through Pharr's Homeric Greek, a book for beginners. Lesson 6, the second declension, which includes noun-adjective agreement. Now, the second declension stems are dominated by Omicron. And so reading 228 from Smythe, the Omicron stems in the nominative add sigma to the stem in masculines and feminines, and new in neuters. The feminines, of which there are few, are declined like the masculines. In the neuters, nominative, vocative, and accusative singular have the same form, Omicron new, and in the plural, these cases of the neuters end in alpha, that is, the nominative, vocative, and accusative. So if you look at this table, you can see, starting with the singular, that the masculine and feminative have Omicron sigma, whereas a neuter noun will have Omicron new. The genitive will have Omicron upsilon, the diphthong, but we will also in Homer see the basic form Omicron iota Omicron. And in the dative, you have omega with the iota subscript. So the genitive and dative singular are the same across masculine, feminine, and neuters. So too, the accusative will be the same in the singular across masculine, feminines, and neuters, Omicron new. In your vocative, you're going to have epsilon for the masculine and feminines, and Omicron new for the neuters. So if you see, the main point looking at the singulars is that the genitive and the dative singular are the same all the way across, and it's when you get to the neuter, accusative, and nominative that you have to remember the difference. Nominative and vocative, that you have to remember the difference from the masculine and feminine. Okay. The dual forms, you have omega in the nominative, accusative, and vocative, and Omicron iota new in the genitive and dative. I would not burden yourself memorizing those at this stage. We'll see them as we start to read Homer. But turning to the plurals, in the masculine and feminine, you have Omicron iota, oi, and then on, genitive, dative plurals, ois and oise, either form in Homer, and the accusative plural, us, of the masculine and feminine, and the vocative matching the nominative in the masculine and feminine of oi. Turning to the neuter plurals, you're going to have this alpha in all three cases, nominative, accusative, and vocative, and then the genitive and the dative will be identical to that in the masculine and the feminine. Okay? And we get this note that final Omicron iota is treated as short for purposes of accentuation, long for purposes of prosody, or working off the scansion. Okay, so away from the abstract chart, let's look at these examples of words in the second declension, typical second declension words. So we have ho hippos, so hippos, hippu, hippo, hippon, hippe, o hippe, hippoi, hippon, hippois, hippus. And anthropos, anthropos, anthropou, anthropoi, anthropon, anthrope, anthropoi, anthropon, anthropois, anthropus. And then note he hodos. Hodos is a feminine second declension. So hodos, hodu, hodoi, hodon, hoda, o way, hodoi, hodon, hodois, hodus. And then finally, the neuter second declensions, todoron, gift, doron, doru, doroi, doron, doron. And then the plural, dora, doron, dorois, dora. So there's no way other to learn this, I think, than by writing out the endings again and again, and then picking words that you yourself will recite right through the singular and plurals respectively. So you need to be able to close your eyes and go hippos, hippu, hippoi, hippon, hippe, hippoi, hippon, hippois, hippus, etc. Okay, so good luck with your memorization. Now, so far we've seen the first declension and the second declension, and together we'll see that the first and second declension give us the 1-2 declension endings for adjectives. Because we see that adjectives in Greek have 3 different declensions, and as noun, and they follow basically the same rules as the nouns. Okay, 718. With respect to form, they may be divided into 4 classes. Adjectives of the first and second declensions, adjectives of the second declension, which are mostly compounds, adjectives of the first and second declension, and adjectives of the third consonant declension. Okay. 319. The form of the adjective which appears in the vocabulary is the nominative singular of all genders, except in the case of very few of only one gender, in which the nominative and genitive singular are given. We'll come to that later, so don't worry about the few adjectives of one gender. We'll see those later. But what I have here at the bottom of this is examples, or are examples, of each of these 4 categories. Adjectives that are of the first and second declension. So you have something like kalos, kale, kalon. You see the masculine kalos and the neuter kalon are from the second declension, but kale is from the first declension. And then number 2, adjectives of the second declension, mostly compounds, polutropos in the masculine feminine, polutropon in the neuter. Polutropon is, of course, the word that's applied, adjective applied to Odysseus, so very resourceful, full of tricks, full of turns. And then number 3, adjectives of the first and third declension. So, hedus, hedea, hedu. We see that hedea is obviously of first declension ending, whereas hedus and hedu are third declension endings, which you'll see down the road. And then finally, adjectives of the third or consonant declension, aletes in the masculine and feminine, and aletes in the neuter. So these are your examples of sample adjectives for each of these categories of adjectives, 1, 2, 3, 4. But this will be clear, and it's not as complex as it seems. It's pretty clear once you get used to it. Okay, so the first adjectives we're really going to focus in on are that number 1, adjectives of 3 endings. Okay, and these are most of your adjectives. Most adjectives of the vowel declension have 3 endings: os, a, and on. The masculine neuter are declined according to the second declension, and the feminine is declined according to the first. So this is why it's so important that you memorize, get etched into your brain rock solid, the endings of the first and second declension, because they'll come together and be identical to most of your adjectival endings as well. So, for example, kalos, kale, kalon. The paradigm of the full inflection of this adjective is seen here. So I'll go across. Kalos, kale, kalon. Kalu, kales, kalu. Kaloi, kale, kaloi. Kalon, kalen, kalon. Kale, kale, kalon. Kaloi, kalai, kala. Kalon, kalaon, kalon. Kaloise, kalese, kaloise. Kalus, kalas, kala. But as I said earlier, once you memorize the nouns, the endings of the nouns, and have your example noun, boule, for instance, you can recite them going nominative, genitive, dative, accusative, vocative of the singular, and then doing the same with the plurals. And then ultimately, it's not hard to convert that memory pattern to just working with the adjectives across. But you want to get to the point where you can lay with your eyes closed and go up and down, backwards and forwards, any direction of this paradigm to make sure you have it absolutely secure. Okay. Now, the question of noun-adjective agreement. Because a noun and an adjective have to fit together, kind of like when you're getting dressed, you want to make sure your shirt matches your pants. And so an adjective agrees with its noun in gender, number, and case, but not always in form, since they may belong to different declensions. This is the key point. So, no, nous kale, an evil plague, where nous, although feminine, is of the second declension and ends in omicron sigma. So being feminine, it requires the kake to be feminine as well. It requires the adjective to conform to its gender. This rule applies also to adjective pronouns and participles. So, muri algea, polas diptimus sukas, aidi proiapsen, dias de ten erisante, dios achilius, elte doas epineas, deoi Olympia domat econtes. I'm not going to spend time going over these examples right now so closely, simply because they'll be clearer once you've learned more morphology down the road. But the key point here to understand is that you are rarely going to have a noun-adjective agreement where the endings of the noun and the adjective actually match. Okay, more often than that, you're going to have a situation where they don't match, or not uncommonly. So, but however, you do have collocations where they will match. So we take something like Pharr's example from section 678, dumos, dumu, spirit, life, soul, which is masculine. You can tell that by the ho, the form of the definite article. And so dumos, dumu, dumoi, dumon, dume, dumoi, dumon, dumoise, dumus. But then when you fix a second declension noun up with an adjective, so you have a collocation like with polemos, war, kakos polemos, kaku polemu, kakoi polemoi, kakon polemon, kake poleme. Okay, oh kake poleme, oh evil war that took my son. Kakoi polemoi, kakon polemon, kakoisi polemoise, kakus polemus. In situations like this, yes, the endings will agree, but most certainly it will be the case that Greek will not necessarily put these words side by side. Usually something will be thrown in between, and other words will be thrown in between. But we'll jump off that bridge when we get to it. And then here we have at Pharr's 679 an example, kalon ergon, a noble deed, where ergon is neuter, so it will determine the neuterness of the noun will determine the endings of the adjective modifying it. So you get kalon ergon, kalu ergu, kaloi ergoi, kalon ergon, kalon ergon, o kalon ergon. Okay, o noble deed. Kala erga, kalon ergon, kaloise ergoise, kala erga. And then this third example unites a feminine second declension noun, nusos, okay, nusos, which, because it's feminine, is going to require the feminine forms of the adjective. So here we have a place where the endings don't line up with one another. They don't echo each other like the previous examples, but you get kake nu sos, kakes nu su, kake nu soy, kakein nu son, kake nu se, kakai nu soy, kakaon nu son, kakese nu soise, kakas nu sus. So, to the degree that you get really firm with these endings, these combinations will really give you no problem or little problem, because most often it will be clear what adjective goes with what noun, in large part by its meaning. That's going to help you unite them together. But let's look, for instance, at these early adjective noun combinations that one actually sees in Iliad 1. So the first one is what we've had as an example already, nusos kake, where the declensions in play are nusos being a second declension feminine, but kake being first declension in its ending as an adjective. And myria allegea, we have second declension neuter plural endings on each of those two words. Polas diptimus sukas, we see that polas and sukas are accusative plurals of the first declension feminine, but iptimus is, it looks like it is a second declension, and it's a second declension accusative plural form, that because there the feminine and the masculine share the endings. But again, the endings will be determined by the noun, and since sukas is feminine, the endings of iptimus, strong, have to be feminine as well. But in this case, but do not be confused, you have the second declension endings which cover both, which are the same for both the feminine and the masculine. Okay. Likewise, you have dios akileus, and here we have dios, which is a first declension adjective form, but akileus, which is actually a third declension noun, as we will learn. Akileus, of course, being masculine, so dios is going to be masculine, and these are neuter singulars. And finally, olympiadomata, Olympian domiciles. Both of these are second declension neuter plurals, and this could be either nominatives or accusatives, because in the neuter, of course, the nominatives and accusatives are always identical, so only context would tell us which this is. But olympiadomata, we have an example of second declension neuter adjectives and noun in the plural. Okay. So Going to our vocabulary for lesson 6, we have aglaos, 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 aglae, aglaon. We have ana, an. We have akaios, akaiu, ho akaios. Denos, dene, denon. Helorion, heloriu, to elorion. Deos, deu. Dumos, dumu. Kakos, kake, kakon. Kalos, kale, kalon. Aperesios, aperesie, aperesio, aperesion. Apoina, ta apoina, neuter plural word. Laos, lau, ho. Laos, lau, ho. Murioi, murii, muria, an adjective that only occurs in the plural. Nusos, nusu, hey, an example of one of the feminine second declension nouns. Oionos, bird. Paulos, paule, paulon. Stratos, stratu, hos stratos. And pilos, pile, pilon. Okay, so that's our vocabulary for lesson 6. And all of these words, of course, we'll see very early on once we start reading book 1 of the Iliad in about 7 more lessons. Okay, so thank you very much for checking in. Please do subscribe, hit the notification bell, and have a very good day. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.